How many hammers does it take to beat Paper Mario? If you don't already know, I made a video discovering the amount of jumps that it takes to beat Paper Mario. Thank you for the massive amount of support on that video. So, unlike that video, the rules for this will be very simple. 1 B press is equal to 1 hammer. And there are no real nuances. A hammer is when Mario pulls out the hammer. So you don't actually obtain the hammer until you're in the middle of prologue, around 8 minutes into the run. So I'm going to skip right to that. Right after you get the hammer, you don't need to use it on Junior Troopa, you can just spam jumps. After you leave Junior Troopa's playground, you have to hammer this block. Even though you can get on top of the block, the developers put an invisible wall blocking you from skipping this. After we get Power Jump and Goombario, there's a block we have to smash. It's important to note that anytime a blue switch appears, you can simply just jump on it, or use a partner. Not a whole lot of hammers for the prologue section of the game. Now we're in Chapter 1. There's a tree that we have to hammer to progress. When you hammer the tree, it lowers a blue switch, which then raises a bridge. In order to get Cooper's shell, you have to hammer these trees 3 times. Surprisingly, after that, there's no more hammer usages in Chapter 1. Important to note that we cannot get Whack-A-Bumps, it's totally blocked. Even Bombat doesn't blow up this block. So now, all the way in Chapter 2, we get the Super Hammer. There are a few stone blocks that we have to break. Since I can't get Whack-A-Bumps, I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of honey syrups and eat them all to get the 15 FP to kill the stone chomps efficiently. So like the blue switches, these boos can simply be jumped on. So now we're in Chapter 4. These blue boxes can be activated with the super boots, and the train switches can be activated by jumping on them. So when I was first making the layout for this video, I didn't actually account for these 4 hammers that we have to do here. The yellow, green, red, and blue boxes. Not even using Cooper or Bombat activate them, sadly. So this is 4 hammer usages that are basically unskippable. And it's funny that I didn't remember that they existed until this video was being made. Not all hope has been lost though, because we can use Bombat to break the lantern to unlock Watt. So the whale is a little interesting. You can either hammer 3 times while on top of it, or use the super boots once. Pretty interesting that there's a 3 versus 1 scenario here. In order to get sushi, we can bomb the tree 3 times. This takes a while, compared to just hammering. So it's important to note that I'm also just not using the hammer in battle, so I can't use Power Quake, Hammer Throw, anything like that. Here's another thing that I totally forgot about until I was recording the footage for this video. So, using Cooper and Bombat does not activate the log, neither does using the super boots, so very sadly we have to hammer these logs. One of these logs unlocks the blue Yoshi. The other log allows us to get to the yellow Yoshi, as well as the purple Yoshi. You know what's really sad is even though you clearly can bomb this tree and it shakes, it does not activate the purple Yoshi. And this to me was very shocking. So unfortunately we have to hammer this tree to get the purple Yoshi down. Okay, here's a very cool part of the run. So you see this log? Well, you don't actually have to hit it. What you can do is simply backtrack and then retrace your steps in order to skip this hammer. I'm gonna make my way through the jungle exactly the way I came. I would say that this log is very good game design. It just allows you to skip all of this in a casual playthrough. Alright, so now we have the Ultra Hammer. I tried to escape the room by going to the left, using Terracarry and other ideas, but nothing worked. So sadly we have to hammer this block. There's another metal block that's blocking the path. And then in the spike ball room there are 7 metal blocks we have to smash. That's a lot. Well, now we're in chapter 6, and there are actually no hammers in this chapter. The red, yellow, and blue trees, as well as the bubbleberry tree, can all be hit with bombette. And then there are no obstacles that you have to hit with the hammer. So if you're a chapter 6 hater, what can I say except you're welcome. Alright, so once chapter 6 is done and Huff is defeated, we have to go into the sewers in order to get the Ultra Boots, to hit a few hidden blocks to reach chapter 7. And in the sewers, there are 2 blocks that we have to hit with the hammer to progress. Stone block, metal block. Now that we're on our way to Crystal King, there are 3 sets of fights where we have Duplighost imposters. I tried hitting all of them with the jump or the Ultra Boots, and seeing what other options were available to me, but nothing seems to work. So it seems that we have to hammer all 3 of the Duplighost imposters. It's very important to note that you have to hit the real Bombette and the real Cooper in order to minimize the hammers. If you don't hit the real Bombette and the real Cooper, you're going to be hitting it 2 to 4 times instead of just 1. There are a few things in chapter 8 that you have to make sure to jump on instead of hammering. There's the blue switch in the lava room, the blue switch in the flood room, and then the Duplighost you have to hit 3 times with jumping, or I guess you could use a partner if you wanted. And yeah, that is about all of the hammers that we do in this entire run. So the total amount of hammers that are required to beat the whole game glitchless is 32. I have all of the hammers listed by chapter. Prologue has 2, Chapter 1 has 4, Chapter 2 has 5, Chapter 3 has none, Chapter 4 has 4, Chapter 5, surprisingly, has a whopping 12, Chapter 6 none, Chapter 7 5, and Chapter 8 none. Alright, a little bit of spoilers if you haven't seen the last video. The last video is how many jumps does it take to beat Paper Mario. So, if you want to see the video, it's in the description. Now I'm going to spoil it. I find it appropriate that there are many times more jumps than there are hammers, because Mario has, previously been known as Jumpman, and hammers are usually not in mainline games. Like, you think of like Mario 64, Sunshine Galaxy, Odyssey, there's just no hammer, there's other gimmicks. Yeah, this video was really fun to do, and I'm going to make more like this. I do want to cover both the jumping and hammering videos with glitches involved. As my first projects, I wanted to keep it simple and ban all glitches though. I have a few more cool ideas for these videos. Alright guys, thank you for watching again.